Good evening. A very warm welcome to all of you. Please come. Let's pray together with the power of collective praying. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya sahana vavatu sahano bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vedvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. O Lord, the Almighty, the Omniscient, the Omnipotent, and the Omnipresent. Together with Shraddha, Bhakti, Prapatti, we offer our humble salutations, Sashtanga Pranams, at your lotus feet, to seek your grace, your mercy, your blessings, your love, your compassion, your forgiveness, your strength, your fortitude. O Lord, bless us with the divine qualities of Shraddha, Bhakti, Jnana, Vairagya, Mumukshutva, Prapatti, only and only to understand thy true nature, to have the first-hand experience, aparoksha anubhuti of thy divine nature. We offer our humble salutations to the Guru Parampara. Om Tat Sat. Today, by the grace of the Almighty and the blessings of the Guru Parampara, we are on our Divine Discourse number 327, 13th of April 2023, Shobhakrit Nama Samvatsara, Uttarayana, Vasanta Rutu, Chaitra Mas, Krishna Paksha, Ashtami, Purvashada Nakshatra, Shivayoge, Kaulavakarane. On this auspicious day of Thursday and the auspicious time of the evening, we all take a firm resolve in our minds. Naham karta hari karta, hari preranaya, hari prityartham. O Lord, I completely surrender unto you. Whatever is happening in my life, be it through any person, place or object, any situation, any incident, any circumstance, any event, any happening, I know, my Lord, all this has been the design of your mercy on me. I accept all this with humbleness and faith. I know that you have designed this only and only to uplift this Jiva from the ocean of births. Our humble salutations to the Guru Parampara once again. Om. Tat Sat. Good evening to all of you. A warm welcome once again. So, now we are on a very important aspect, a very important milestone, I could say, on our spiritual path, where we are trying to understand the highest philosophy which Lord Krishna is talking about. Henceforth, he will be giving us 12 yajnas, and this verse number 24, which we are talking about, Brahmarpanam Brahmavi, Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaivatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhinaha. So, this is the highest of the 12, which essentially means this is the target, what you need to attain. And the other 11 which he is going to give us are purely preparatory. To attain this 12th position, the 11 will be preparatory, which we will be learning after we complete this verse. So, now as you have seen, to understand that subtlety, that intensity and that depth of this highest knowledge, where the Lord is saying, the one who is sitting in front of the yajna fire, the Homa Havan Kund, he is Brahman, the fire is Brahman, the Havis is Brahman, and to whom all this is offered is Brahman. So, you know, how do you reconcile with all this information? Where everything is Lord, that is what they are trying to say. And then I clearly understand that I am a Jiva. I am an entity with a particular name, with a particular form, with a particular status in life, with respect to my relationships, my possessions, my wants, my desires, do's and don'ts, all this. How do I reconcile? So now for this we have started taking the help of a text by name Drg Drushya Viveka, and today we are on the third session of Drg Drushya Viveka. So now from where we have stopped last, we did the last verse number 5. As I told you, I will be taking the important verses, which is primarily I just want to connect in terms of what we want to learn, that is all. My basic intention is not to go into an academic learning. Our intention is that we need to reach the lotus feet of the Lord, that is it. Now, I will tell you, there is a very beautiful shloka in the Shastras. It says, Ananta Param Kila Shabda Shastram. Anantaparam Kila Shabda Shastram. Swalpam Tatayur Bahuvascha Vignaha. Saram Tato Graham Apasya Falgo Hamsair Yatha Kshiram Ivam Buddhyat. So what it says is Anantaparam Kila Shabda Shastram, meaning there is so much a vast ocean of knowledge. What knowledge? Forget about the secular knowledge, the worldly knowledge. We are only talking of the spiritual knowledge. It's an ocean. And when this is the kind of ocean in front of us, Swalpam Tatayur Bhavascha Vignaha. Swalpam Tatayur or Ayur is Swalpam, meaning it's little, very meager. What you could be 70 years, 80 years, 100 years, 120 years. And you know, after you get old beyond a point, what is the status of our organs of perception, our brain, our mind. So, Swalpam Tatayur, we have very little lifespan on our side. 1/3 goes in sleeping, 1/3 goes in getting ready and doing your chores, eating your meals and basic other mundane things, and another 1/3 you get, which in that Bhavascha Vignaha, there are so many problems. You have health problems, you have financial problems, you have relationship problems, you have your spouse, you have your children, you have your in-laws, you have your parents, you have your relatives, so many Bhavascha Vignaha. So with all these problems, tell me, where do you get time? So now what the scripture says, Saram Tato Grahyam. Saram Tato Grahyam means you try to take the essence, because now we realize we don't have that much time. Saram Tato Grahyam, acquire the saram, the essence. And he gives a metaphor, relates it to an example. Apasya Falgo Hamsairyata Kshiram Ivam Buddhya. He says Hamsa. Hamsa is that divine white swan. What capacity it has? If there is water and if there is milk, it's able to only suck the milk from the concoction of water and milk. So become like that Hamsa. In this world, when you are there, don't put too much of time in the worldly activities. There is a lot of enjoyment. Yes, you feel good when you are in such company. You want to enjoy, because that is what is the very nature of the mind and the senses. They want to keep you engaged and in the Jiva Bhava. Understand this. Yes, for formality's sake, you need to be there on certain things. So just make use of that time in this Kshira Ambu. Ambu means water. Milk and water, Viveka. Try to only suck that milk. Get the essence of the Vedas, and the rest you just ignore it, leave it. You know, there's a story of, once there was an interview in a company for a salesman job. A young man was appearing for the interview. He goes with his biodata and he sits in front of the interviewer. Now the interviewer asks him a question. Hey young man, you look bright. Can you tell me what is the distance between the moon and the earth? Now this salesman, he was a very frank person. He says, sir, with all humility, I would like to tell you that I want to be a distinguished salesman. I know about the product. I study about the product of what I want to sell, I study about the consumer psychology, what I want to whom I am selling, and I also study about the competition which is there in the market and about the market where I am selling. I am not interested in these things like what is the distance between the moon and the earth. See, although it must have hurt the sentiment of the interviewer, but if the interviewer was a clever person, he would definitely select such a candidate. So that is what are you going to do with the knowledge of what is happening all around? Our intention, as we have understood, ocean of knowledge in front of us, very limited time, talk to the point, don't beat around the bush. And I must tell you that my method of whatever I want to communicate to you all is purely from that angle. Not about how many chapters we have studied, how much time we have incorporated. No, my only thing is take any chapter, but are we hitting the central point or not? That will be my intention. That is the crucial point. So today we are going to unfold some very crucial, subtle and great insights of the Jiva Paramatma concept. So let's go ahead with this with attention and try to understand what best we can. Okay. Now just to recap. So what we learnt in the first two sessions was eyes are the seer and there are various objects which are the seen, and then later on what happens, the eyes themselves become the seen and the mind becomes the seer. How? You get to know that yes, my eyes are blurred, my eyes are weak today, my eyes are watery, my eyes are tired. So who is knowing that? Your mind is knowing that. So the eyes become the seen, the mind becomes the seer. Now as you move forward, you also got to understand that the mind becomes the seen and there is something known as the witness. Witness is the one who is seeing the mind, that's all. How do you know that there is a witness behind it? Because it understands that the mind is disturbed, the mind is happy, the mind is agitated, the mind is angry, the mind is inquisitive, the mind is sharp, the mind is dull. There is somebody who is seeing the mind also. Now these are all the findings which we have come to up to this point. And who is that witness? So that witness consciousness is none other than what we call as Sachidananda, where we say Shivoham, Shivoham, I am that Sachidananda Rupa, that pure consciousness. Okay. Now having come up to this point, up till here it is very clear to us. I will keep revising this again and again because this has to get into your mind deep and strong. So, okay, I appreciate this. Then if all this is construed in this way or constructed in this way, then why do I feel that I am trapped, I am stuck in this body and mind? I am not able to understand that. You are saying that it is Sachidananda Swarupa, but where I don't experience that. How do I relate to the body and mind? How is this pure consciousness in association with my body and mind? Now this question normally comes to a sincere, advanced spiritual sadhak. When all these steps are clear and when you know that there is awareness which is seeing the mind is seeing the sense organs, the sense organs are seeing the world of objects, and the sense organs along with the organs of action are enjoying the objects in the world around. All this is clear and vibrant in my mind, but I feel I am not that Sachidananda Swarupa. I am somebody where I am stuck in this. I have my highs and lows in life. So now this is what is going to be answered in the next verse, number 6. By the way, the shloka we just now learnt, where we have very little time, there Lord Krishna tells, if you feel that you are short of time, I will tell you the shortest route, the most concise, the most precise path of knowledge, which is the Advaita Vedanta, which will take you to where you want to go. And in that kind of a shortcut, now we are finding out some more shortcuts, so that we know we don't have time. We have so many challenges in life, we have so many obligations in life. How much ever you try to streamline them, you still find yourself short of time. So with this approach, now this way Advaita Vedanta, which by Drg Drushya Viveka, now let us take the verse number 6. Okay, I will first give an idea of that verse and then we will go to the clear meaning of the verse. As far as we are conveying or understanding what the verse says, that is fine with us. The Sanskrit part is okay. Okay, now what does it mean? When you say this consciousness, you are saying, now you are telling me that I am that pure consciousness. Okay, when I say the ultimate seer or the ultimate witness is that consciousness, what we think? Yeah, I understand. I am quite conscious right now. I am listening to what you are saying. My ears are alert, my eyes are seeing the screen, I am completely aware, I am sentient, isn't it? Are we not feeling conscious at this point? So what you are talking about, is that the witness self? Is that the Atman, or is that the Paramatma? Is that the Brahman? What I am experiencing right now? This question comes to our mind. So Vedanta says, actually it is not that consciousness. What we are feeling right now is awareness in the mind. Now get this clearly, because we are distinguishing that Jiva Bhava from the Paramatma Tattva. This is that crux, that core. I will come to much more details. So that awareness what we are feeling in ourselves, that consciousness what we are feeling, is not that pure consciousness. Then what it is? It is a reflection of that witness or that consciousness. And what is it known as? In Sanskrit, the right word is Chit Chaya. Chit means consciousness. Chaya means a reflection, a shadow. So what you are experiencing in yourself right now is not that pure consciousness, but it is called as Chitta Chaya, or the reflected consciousness. How do I understand this? Very easy. Now for example, during the night, if I ask you, are you able to see the sun? You will say, obviously not. How can we see sun in the night? But in one sense you are seeing the sun. How? It is that sunlight reflected from the moon. That moonlight is that which illumines the world. The sun shines on the moon and the moon reflects the sunlight to earth, and that reflected light, which we call as the moonlight, is the light which we see during the night. That is exactly what is happening. That is that pure consciousness. So although we don't see the sun during the night, but the moonlight which is falling on us, which is giving us whatever little light, is nothing but the sunlight. So in the same way, we have to understand, because we are very good at understanding the world, the people, the places, objects, we understand our body, we understand our mind. Now, what is meant by this consciousness in the mind? That is our question. So now we clearly understand that this is not the pure consciousness, but it is the reflection of that pure consciousness. Because of that pure consciousness, that Atman. Now there are different names, pure consciousness, Atman, witness, Paramatma, they all mean the same thing. Now that Atman or pure consciousness, it shines it on our mind, and our minds are lit up. Just like that moon is lit up. Moon does not have its own light, we all know that. So just as moon does not have its own light, we are, our body and mind is just like that moon, Jada, insentient. We don't have any awareness or light of our own. It is that just like sunlight is falling on the moon, that consciousness which is all pervading. Now when it gets in touch with the mind, an awareness is created in the body, in the mind primarily. Now that mind being very closely associated with the body, and that body very closely associated with the senses, so till the tip of your finger you will see that awareness in yourself. Till the very tip of your finger, till the very edge of your skin, you will be feeling that awareness all along. So that mind has the capacity, being that very fine mind, it has the capacity to reflect that consciousness. An example, as we see on a plain clean surface of water, we see the shadow of the trees, shadow of the sun, the moon in the night, and then the clouds during the daytime, even the birds also which are flying, we see the shadow. So just because that it is a very fine reflecting surface, so in the same way our mind has the capacity to reflect, and that consciousness reflecting on our mind, it helps us exactly for seeing, for hearing, for smelling, for tasting, for touching, thinking, whatever you want to do. All our conscious experiences are all created by this particular awareness. Now let us take a broader picture. The whole existence is consciousness. Okay. Now in this consciousness, there are sentient and insentient objects. Now what are sentient objects? Like we humans, like the animals, where there is a mind. Okay, we are all sentient, we are living. What is insentient? The rocks, the ice, they are all insentient, they don't have life. Now what is that which gives life is, we have minds, and when that consciousness which is all pervading shines upon our mind, and that mind, as I told you, it generates awareness up to the tip of our fingernails. And in the rest where there is no mind, so they do not have awareness, so they do not have life. This is the simple way of understanding the living and the non-living. You know, this is a very, very intricate subject. It is known as the hard problem of consciousness. If you go on the Google and you search hard, H-A-R-D, it is such a hard problem, meaning what they are trying to say is, It has puzzled everybody, the scientists, the philosophers, the psychologists, the neuroscientists, everybody is working on it. What is their concern? On a physical system like this body and mind, it is a physical system. See, we have seen, you go in a lab, you see a brain, then you see a body. Exactly, without life, what is it? When a person dies, you have seen him. He is nothing but a physical system, just like any other object, non-living object, a log of wood or a table or a chair. So, this physical system, now what happens? It gives you a subjective experience. See, this is marvelous. Now you have to take certain things, let us not waste time in understanding or doing a PhD on how it is happening, but just understand the depth over here. One insentient physical object with that consciousness. Now we are all conscious, we have that awareness. What does it do? It gives you a subjective experience. Now I will explain what is subjective experience. Now there are objects outside us. Our eyes are seeing that object. Now when you see an object, what happens? The light on the object, it enters your eye, basically your retina. Now from there you have the color, the shape, the depth of that object is all captured by this retina, and now you see how it transports. It transports in the form of light where the neurons are firing and it goes to the brain. Now once it reaches the brain, now there is no light, there is no neuron firing, the whole thing is converted into a thought. All that what you saw in terms of the color, or what you hear in terms of the sound, or what you taste in terms of the taste, or what you touch in terms of the feel. Now just imagine, how is this possible? And this taste, this sound, this sight, this feel, everything immediately it gets converted into a first-hand experience which makes you happy, unhappy, angry, kind, compassionate, inquisitive, grudgeful. See now how this is happening. So we get into a complete subjective first person experience, and this is known as the hard problem of consciousness. Are you getting this? See the complexity of our mind. Now this is all this is science what I have spoken so far, which is within our knowledge of understanding. Now how this is happening is told in the shloka over here. So this shloka, the author what he does is, actually in traditional Vedanta there are 4 parts in a mind, in a brain rather, in a mind: Manaha, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. So whereas here he has used only 2 because he wants to convey a concept. So he uses, one is the Buddhi and the second one he uses is Ahankara. So this materialistic body and mind, which is Jada, insentient, how did it get the status of sentiency, and from where is this I factor coming from? See, if there is something which is knotted, and I ask you to, can you please untie or unknot this for me? So what you will do, the first thing is you will take that, you will start examining how it has got into these knots. from where do I start? Because you have to slowly start removing the knots. If you start in a wrong place, probably you will be creating more knots. So you first examine. So now if we have to untie, unknot the ignorance in us, we need to simply get knowledge of how to do it. So now let's understand the shloka and move forward. So what the author is saying here, he says, this is verse number 6. Chichaya veshato buddhau bhanam dhistu dvidhastitha eka hankar kritya anyasyat antakarana rupini. So it means that this buddhi, it appears to get luminosity. Luminosity means awareness. How does it get this? It is purely on account of the reflection of consciousness. So this intelligence or buddhi is of two kinds. As I told you, in typical Advaita Vedanta it is 4. In Tattva Bodha we have studied Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. So here he talks about importantly 2. One is the Ahankriti. Ahankriti means that egoism, and the other one he puts all the others in the name of under the name as Antakarana. Ahankara and Antakarana, and he clearly says that this Ahankara and Antakarana, they both are insentient, and just because of that reflected consciousness. Now remember the Sanskrit term, reflected consciousness means chit chaya. Chaya is shadow, chit means consciousness. So the shadow of the consciousness on our mind, it gives us this feeling of that awareness, and it helps us to experience everything in this world. See, you imagine now whatever we are experiencing, is it not because of the, is it not that it's just because of that consciousness in us we are experiencing? If there was no consciousness, no awareness in this body and mind, would we have been able to experience all this? As simple as that. So as far as that consciousness is there in our body and in our mind, which percolates to the body and from the body to the senses. So this I sense, what happens? Now this I sense which is there in us, which is in the mind, it gets associated with this awareness. Okay, meaning it is an insentient thing which is in our mind, it just gets associated, an unholy union they call us. That pure consciousness which is reflected on the mind, this aham bhava gets into this particular awareness, and then it starts playing its jiva bhava. Now you may ask, why is it that I am not able to understand this? It is just because our mind and senses are always seeing the world outside. We do not see inwards. Paranchikani vyatrinat swayambhu is what the Upanishads say, that the senses are all turned outward. We see things, we hear things, we smell things, we touch things, we taste things, but we never once take time to look inside. But fortunately, we as now seekers, advanced seekers, we are doing this. We have completely turned our attention inside, and we are looking at what is to be searched at the right place. I'll tell you a story. Once there was a poor lady, this was long back, where there was not much of electricity, probably only the the streets had electricity, even the houses had no lights, electricity. Now in such a situation, this poor lady, she is below the street light, she is searching for something. Since she was a kind, well known lady in a small place, everybody knows each other. When they says, "Arey Amma, what are you searching?" Arey, she says, "My toe ring, it has fallen down and I am searching that toe ring." And then everybody starts looking down and everybody is searching. Now one person comes, then another person, he also joins, and under the street light they are searching for that toe ring. Now like this, about 10, 12 people have already joined this, and everybody is looking at the floor and searching for the toe ring. During that time, one knowledgeable person, he comes there and he asks, "What happened?" So the same thing, Amma has lost her toe ring over here and we are all searching. Then he gets into that inquiry, that what we call as vicharana. Okay, so he asks, "Amma, when did you get to know that you lost, and where did you lose this toe ring?" So she says, "See, the last what I saw was when I was working on, I was grounding the floor, and at that time I had seen that, but and after that I did not find the toe ring. Did you come out of the house?" She says, "No, I was in my house only." Then which means, if you have not come out of the house, the toe ring must be is lost in your house. She says, "Yes, it is lost in my house." Then why are you searching here? She says, "Because there is light here." This is our state. Just because there is light on the street, to search her toe ring, she is searching on the street. But where did she lose the toe ring? It was in her house. So likewise, as far as we are looking with our senses outward, with our mind outward, we will never be able to understand the true essence of that divinity. The moment you go inwards. Now if all of them, they manage to go inside the house, then they would have easily found it, but they will have to wait for some light to come for that. So that way we have to search for the right thing at the right place. So when this aham bhava associates with the reflected consciousness, it becomes the jiva. This is exactly the definition of the jiva bhava. Aham bhava, in association with the reflected consciousness, becoming aware of the body, becoming aware of the senses, it starts experiencing everything as the I am the doer, I am the giver, I am the receiver. So in this way, now this particular jiva, the role of a jiva starts. Now I'll go into a little depth about this jiva bhava, and then we have some 15 minutes. Okay, I'll cover about what is the nature of this jiva bhava, and maybe in the next class then we will see how they are the jiva and the Paramatma, reflected consciousness, how they mingled and how the association started, and how one can separate the two, because now our job is to cut the relationship between the jiva bhava and the reflected consciousness, number one. Second is to understand that our true nature is not the reflected consciousness, but it is the pure consciousness which is reflected on this consciousness. So what are you doing? From that jiva bhava, you are upgrading yourself to the pure consciousness state. So for that we need to understand the precise definition between the jiva bhava and the pure consciousness. Okay. Now, having understood so much, there will be a question in our minds. If everything is in one consciousness and that is reflecting on all the jivas, now we know the definition of a jiva, on all the living organisms in this existence, then why is it that I am able to see something and somebody else is not able to see? Somebody understands and I don't understand, and something else is happening to me and something else is happening to the other. Why there is this disparity? This is a very common question which comes. So now here the author tells us, make a difference between consciousness and knowledge. This consciousness, awareness, chaitanya, chit, what? And now I am taking the help of Ashtavakra Gita, this particular aspect. This is another text, Ashtavakra Gita, I am taking from that. So what he says is, this awareness, this consciousness, this Chaitanya Shakti is consciousness itself and that knowledge. There is a difference. So what is knowledge? The same consciousness shining on, say, this mind, now my mind, lighting up my mind, becomes what is called as a Pramata. You can make a note for your understanding. Pramata. Pramata means a knower. Now I got to know, as I just now explained. Now that consciousness shining on my mind, through my eyes I am able to see. That consciousness shining on my mind, through my ears I am able to hear. Same way I am able to taste, I am able to touch, I am able to smell. So I become a Pramata. Pramata means knower. And this is that sentient being, the Jiva, the one which calls itself Srinivas Sirigeri. As simple as that. So that consciousness shining upon my mind and allowing my senses to operate in this world, I get a name known as Pramata, a knower. Now what is that? Nothing else than that awareness shining on my mind. Now in my mind I have my own distinctive cluster of thoughts. I have my past impressions, I have my personality, I have my history. All this which is there in my mind, it is lit up. As far as you are sleeping, your impressions, your grudges, your love, your hatred, your jealousy, that personality traits, all are sleeping. But the moment you get up, everything is lit up. Everything comes back. So this mind is lit up, and this lit up mind, we call it as the reflected consciousness in the mind. Now this reflected consciousness, it deploys a series of instruments. In Sanskrit we call it as Pramana. Now this lit up mind, it has its own instruments. Now this instrument, with the borrowed conscious light, now becomes the knower in Sanskrit, which is Paramatma. And what are these instruments of knowledge? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, your skin, deploying these instruments of knowledge. With my eyes I see, with my ears I hear, with my tongue I taste. All that I become to know some known object, that is known as Prameya. So Pramana is those instruments of knowledge. And what are the objects? If there is a tree, that is a object which comes to my knowing, and that becomes a Prameya. And with that knowledge, After seeing the tree, I get that knowledge known as Prama. Four things. Pramata, I as the knower. That reflected consciousness shining on my mind, I become the knower. And with the instruments of knowledge, all my sense organs, which is Pramana, I see various objects of knowledge, which is anything associated with seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, tasting, which are known as Prameya. I get knowledge known as Prama. So this knower, knowable object, instrument of knowledge, and that knowledge, these are four things. Okay. Now all this is different in different people. Now this is what we need to understand carefully. Why is that somebody knows something and I don't know that? Because we are talking of the same consciousness, isn't it? But remember, this consciousness shining on a mind, using the organs, sense organs, it tries to understand the objects of the world and gets knowledge. Now, if you have a small moped, a moped is less than a scooter or a motorcycle. You have seen that, a 50cc, it has not more than that. It maximum runs at say 40 or 50 kilometers per hour, full speed. Now that is a vehicle, and you also have a say a high speed car which travels at 300, 350 kilometers per hour. Now it is the same petrol which is there for both these vehicles, but what the organs, the instruments what these vehicles have in terms of the capacity, it differs. In the same way, each and every person's mind has a different set of IQ. So all this, it matters for a change in the understanding process. So here it so happens that with your instruments of knowledge, you see all the noble things. The food you taste is noble, the book you read, you are reading an Upanishad book or the Bhagavad Gita, that becomes noble. Then all this comes under Prameya. Using what? The Pramana, you are using your eyes. And then what you get from this is that knowledge known as Prama. So here the knower has got that very limited knowledge, because it is based on his IQ of his mind. Using his set of instruments, he gets that tiny slice of knowledge in this world. So you have to understand the difference. That consciousness which is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, when it comes to a particular individual who is a Pramata, who is the knower, he has got a limited understanding of everything. So that is the reason when I am operating through my organs of knowledge, Pramana, another person is operating through another set of Pramana. So naturally my knowledge is different and the other person's knowledge is different, isn't it? So in this way you will see this parity. Now we have gone to the depth of this whole reflected consciousness. I think by now you have understood. So that's how each and every Pramata, meaning a Jiva. What is a Jiva? Reflected consciousness on any mind, creating that awareness in that mind, becomes a Jiva. And that Jiva, which is also known as Pramata, the knower, it operates in this world using its own Pramana. So we get tiny slices of knowledge in this entire world, and this creates, I have a limited understanding, so there is a realm of the known. There are so many things, there are things which are known to me, and there are so many things which are unknown to me. So as the known, meaning I have seen certain things, I have heard certain things, I have smelled certain things, tasted, touched, understood, thought about, all these come under the realm of the known, which is different from person to person. One consciousness, different jivas. Why it is happening? Because of this reflected consciousness operating through the instruments of knowledge. In some cases, our awareness is vague. We don't know many things. We have not thought about many things. We have not seen many things. We have not heard many things, and many things we don't remember. We don't understand. We have not tasted. Now all this comes under the realm of unknown. But when it comes to consciousness, there is no known, there is no unknown. When it comes to the jivas, you have this distinction of the known and unknown. So this reflected consciousness and the mind together, which is the jiva, the sentient being, is the knower. In other words, consciousness with focus through the instruments of knowledge, Pramata. Now also, this is a bhokta, it is an experiencer. Now I am experiencing, meaning with that my sense organs and with the drive of my sense organs, I start enjoying. Bhoga means of course both enjoyment and suffering, but normally we talk of bhoga as enjoyment, but it also means suffering. Enjoyment and pain. I am also the doer. How am I the doer? Now that reflected consciousness on my aham bhava, I feel that I am the doer. See, I am talking about the crux now. I have that aham bhava. Till now we were talking of the sense organs, organs of action and the sense organs. I understand the world, but I also have the feeling of doer. That unholy association of the reflected consciousness and this mind, this ahankara in me starts saying that I am the doer. Because with the instruments of action, with this body, this reflected consciousness feels I walk, I sit, I talk, I run, I exercise, I am the doer. See how we have got stuck now. No knowledge. Naturally it is happening. Do you know that how you see something and how you get an idea of how it is seen? A huge technical process is happening in us. In 1 second, 1 crore cells are being born and 1 crore cells they die in our body. And how many we have? 70 lakh crore cells in our body. Can you imagine the number? Okay, now I'll tell you one more interesting fact. In every second, there are about 1 lakh chemical reactions in every cell. 1 lakh chemical reactions in one cell, and we have 170 lakh crore cells. What amount of work is happening inside our body and mind? This is the strength of that creator. So just don't try to go too deep into that. Understand that this I, because of ignorance, because he has made it that way, he has given you that ignorance, he has covered it. You will not understand unless and until I feel, the Lord says, I feel that this particular jiva needs liberation. Then the jiva gets the krupa of the shastra and the guru, and the knowledge comes in the mind of that jiva, and the ignorance is in the mind, so the knowledge comes to the mind. The ignorance is about the Advaita Vedanta, and the knowledge is now about the Advaita Vedanta. Now this mind, having understood this difference, it comes out of this. It knows, oh my God, I am not this at all. My true nature is that Sachidananda Swarupa. It is that and that alone. I am not there. See, psychologically now there is a big distance which is being created in your mind. And now as more and more you start analyzing this, getting convinced about this, your reckoning starts increasing. Your power of realization starts increasing. And Once that conviction is there, that I now understand the whole play of this creation, pure consciousness which is all around, this body, mind, senses, how is it getting stuck here? That reflected consciousness on the mind. Consciousness on the mind becomes reflected consciousness, runs through the entire body and to the senses, and it is operating with the aham bhava, I am the doer. But know that there is no aham bhava. It is just a wrong understanding of that faculty in the mind, that it is saying I am the doer. What are you? You are a dead, insentient Jada Padartha. How dare you even say that you are the doer? Now when we get this knowledge, we have to think about this whole concept of creation. That existence of consciousness all around. Me, which I have considered so far as a Jiva. How am I trapped into this? Because I have a mind and a body, that consciousness shining upon this mind and body, and with my past history which is there in the Karana Sharira, all my impressions, my thoughts, my feelings, my opinions, I am operating with them. Unless and until I get a knowledge, I don't have a chance to change. And I am just going by the natural instincts. I am going by the people around me. I am just being followed by a wave. But when knowledge dawns upon me, I get that clear understanding. There is no I over here. Just inquire about that I. You will see that I is not there. It is just like that mirror. Now if that mirror is in front of the sun, it naturally shines. But now what has the mirror thought about itself? That I am shining. Now what did the mirror get to know? That this light which it is thinking as it is its own light, it understands that it is this reflected light and it is coming from the sun above, and it by itself has got no light. So once this understanding comes to the mirror, so that mirror which was boasting around, dancing around, now it knows when night dawns, where is my power? I don't have any light. So in the same way this Jiva understands, I am jumping around, I am doing all this, I am talking big things, only till the time that consciousness is reflecting on my mind. But the moment the reflection stops, there is nothing here. So this I is an illusion. Till the time you are dreaming, everything is real to you. The moment you wake up, as everything falls apart, you may be chased by a tiger. Why tiger? Let's say a dog. You're running for your life. Not one dog, 4 dogs are after you, and you're running for your life. And you feel that you're not able to run further, and now they're going to bite you. You come to that stage and luckily you get up. You say, my God, I got over it. How did you get over it? You just came to a higher level of realization. In the same way, as you come to a waking state from a dream state, waking state is a higher state of realization. In the same way, in the waking state, when you gain this spiritual knowledge, when you get the right understanding of what this creation is, when you get the knowledge of the Atma, Chaitanya, witness, Paramatma, then in that waking state you go to a higher state of realization. The first state is known as pratibhasika, which is the dream state. The waking state is known as the vyavaharika satya, pratibhasika satya, vyavaharika satya, and then the third state is where you have got the truth, paramarthika satya. You have understood what is that paramarthika. That satya you have understood. So, in a waking state, just like as what was disturbing to you in a dream did not disturb you in a waking state, so in the same way what is disturbing you in a waking state, having gained that knowledge of that paramarthika satya, nothing more disturbs you. If somebody is telling you in your dream, this is a dream, you will start enjoying the dream. You are not associated anymore with the dream. As far as you are not associated with what is happening in front of you, nothing disturbs you. Now our mind plays those tricks. It puts you into all this. It entangles you, and then you are not in a position to come out because you don't know your true self. So, hey man, as you say, get up. So, get up from what? Not from a dream. Get up from this waking world. Now you have understood what is the construction of your true self. Where are you coming from? There is one insentient body over here which has a mind, and that mind is getting that reflected consciousness, and in that there is a Ahankara. That Ahankara is shining and it is saying, I am the doer of everything, and it is going from one birth to another birth because the law of karma is after it. So now know that there is nothing happening over here. You are not the doer of anything. So anybody can criticize you what you are doing. Anybody may praise you for what you are doing. When you have dissolved yourself as you are not the doer, then why do you bother? Live in that state of that pure consciousness. It is that and that alone which is operating through each and everything in this existence. If you get that feeling in your mind, then nothing should bother you. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu idam namama. We'll go to the next shloka where he gives an example of how an iron ball, which is the Jiva, and he compares fire, which is consciousness, and how they both mix up and appear to us. And then this is the 7th verse, and in the 8th verse he then says what is the relationship of this consciousness and the Jiva, which is the Ahankara. Okay, so we'll understand it from 3 different parameters, and by that time, now having this, and you should stay in this thought, this is how this whole creation is. When it is very clear to us, if there is a dewdrop on a grass, on a blade of grass, in the early morning you see a small sun shining in that dewdrop on that grass. Now doesn't it appear to us, oh, there is sun above and that sun is reflecting on this, and I see a dewdrop over here. So evidently it comes to us, isn't it? We don't have to do a great thinking. So in the same way, whatever is happening in this body and mind is only that reflection. That is the truth. As far as that sun is there, you can see the reflection on this dewdrop. And as far as the dewdrop is on that blade of grass, you can see that reflection. If the drop falls down, you can't see anything. So, understanding these basic facts, now know what you are. You are not there exactly, or just an illusion. Just like in a dream, you are playing a character. That character is an illusion. The moment you wake up, you know that that character was not there. In the same way, understand that this dream, deep sleep and waking are nothing but the states of mind which by itself is an illusion. And in that process, you know that you are the one and only, not your true nature, but there is only one thing in reality, which is that consciousness appearing as many in this world of creation. Okay. Now we'll take the divine names. Today we are going to study two divine names of Vishnu Sahasranama Shloka 35, 320 Pranaha and 321 Pranadaha. So first let's read the shloka. Achyuta pratita pranaha pranado vasavanujaha apam nidiradhishthanam apramatta pratishtitaha. 320 pranaha. All manifested expressions of life are called as the prana. He is the prana in all living creatures, meaning it is his manifestations that we recognize as the endless activities in all living creatures in this dynamic world. Also, it can mean that he is the one who is the form of vital air, sustains life in all creatures. It's coinciding in what we studied today. 321 Pranadaha, one who gives strength to everyone. The root da has a meaning of destruction, and therefore the term corresponds also the power of destruction everywhere. According to the Puranas, therefore he is the one who gives the strength and glory for devas, and again he is the one who supplies special strength to them to win over the brutal forces of the diabolically wicked, the asuras. Subjectively, it is the self that supplies the mental strength for cultivating the higher values of life, and it is the same source, divine, that floods the seeker's heart with the courage to annihilate the lower impulses that come to destroy his peace and tranquility within. Such a divine Lord, we offer our humble salutation and seek his grace, mercy, blessing. That's it. Let's read the Dhanvantari mantra thrice. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutakalashastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraya Amrutakalashastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutakalashastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye त्रैलोक्यनिधये श्री महाविष्णु स्वरूप श्री धन्वंतरी स्वरूप श्री 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 औषध चक्र नारायणाय स्वाहा. To the Lord of Health, Dhanvantari Devata, we offer our humble salutations and seek his blessings for a healthy life till the time we get the divine knowledge to our fullest understanding. Om. Let's do the Siddhi Samadhi Yoga Dhyana. All of you, please relax yourself. Bring your body to a state of ease and comfort. If you need to get up, take a few steps and sit back again, please do that. Head, neck and spine in a straight line. Let's take a few deep breaths, as deep as you can. Inhale and exhale. Pranaha, the Lord Pranaha, is giving this body and mind this vital air strength. The Bhava is nowhere here. Keep thrashing the Aham Bhava at every point. Know that the very feeling of awareness is nothing but that reflected consciousness. Aham Bhava is stuck as an unholy union to this awareness, separated. Now let's do the Sakshi Bhava meditation. You're observing your mind, the thoughts in your mind. Having gently closed your eyes, relaxing your forehead, your face, your neck and shoulders. Relaxing the complete body. Observe the thoughts in your mind. Without being judgmental, without thinking about the thought. Allow the thoughts to pass along. Practicing this method sincerely, you will see the number of thoughts slowly dwindling down. And when you will come to a state when there are no thoughts. Bring your attention on your breath. Become aware of yourself and the surroundings. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Rub your palm, place them on your eyes. Feel the warmth gently and lovingly. Open your eyes. Together, we offer today's Gita Jnana Yajna at the lotus feet of the Lord. Na ham karta, hari preranaya, hari priti. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Idam namama. Om.